Hello, and welcome to Team 3's MSIM Applied project entitled DIY Residential Security and Monitoring, a transformational model involving technological and process refinement. Team 3 consists of Melvin Davies, David Moore, and Krishnan Narayanan. This presentation will examine the residential security industry, ADT, and recommend a transformational business and technology implementation of a e-commerce-enabled, physically portable, subscription-based business model for do-it-yourself or DIY alarm and home automation systems with automated provisioning and self-monitoring options. Many sectors exist in the overall security industry: residential, commercial, physical, to name a few. Residential security services and systems companies sell, install, and monitor residential electronic security systems covering theft prevention, fire detection, and emergency health services. Currently, the residential security segment is experiencing significant growth due to the adoption of next-generation electronic security solutions, increasing burglary rates, and attractive insurance policies for residents with security systems. Industry revenues are expected to increase annually by 2.5% over the next 5 years and reach $18.9 billion in 2017. With the adoption of Internet of Things, or IoT, remote monitoring devices will drive incrementally high margin revenues and will be the primary revenue source for sales of 48% overall, along with new hardware installations of 31%. Applying an industry macro framework such as PESTLE reveals disproportional impacts, either positive profitable or negative potential loss, and identifies opportunities for profitable exploration. From the macro level, the residential security industry appears solid with few common operating environmental risks. There are many positive disproportional impacts to exploit for profitability. In particular, the economic factors for the residential security industry are very attractive. As well, the social, cultural, demographic, and technology factors are areas that can be profitably exploited. Conversely, the possible negative disproportional impacts that would affect profitability are worth considering. The risks of the political legal ambiguity of privacy laws and the competitiveness of the residential security market is worth considering, as well as the fluctuating dynamic technology integration challenges and possible increased operating costs. From this analysis, becoming a new entrant into the residential security industry segment appears profitable. However, a closer micro-examination of the competitive forces is necessary in order to anticipate the strength of competition and whether a new entrant can operate successfully and sustain profits. By examining the balance and intensity of power between and among the forces, clear competitive weaknesses and/or profit opportunities will be revealed. The micro-level Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis reveals the intensity of new competitors into the residential security industry and the continued profitability of the existing security solutions entities. Many attractive areas can be exploited for profitability. In particular, the threat of substitutes reveals that, for the value proposition of 24/7 365 security, there are no real alternatives for consideration at this time. The bargaining power of buyers reveals general consumer dissatisfaction with price point, multi-year contracts, inability of system mobility, and high switching costs suggest new areas for research and development, combined with the barriers to entry being low in terms of the rapidly growing segment and the ready supply of interchangeable technology components highlighted in the bargaining power of suppliers analysis. The conclusion from the 5 forces analysis applied to the residential security industry is attractive. Conversely, elements that might impact income negatively cannot be overlooked. Rivalry within segments is high as entrenched competitors create significant risk for a new entrant or an existing competitor's new offering. However, this is a common operational risk in a competitive market, so should be considered a lesser risk. The conclusion of the security industry analysis suggests the industry segment is definitely capable of sustaining new entrants and/or expanding existing established participants into new market segments. The PESTLE macro and the 5 forces micro analyses point to several positive disproportional profitable areas ripe for disruption. It is clear that carefully structured investment in new technologies leveraging DIY IoT with automated, flexible, and portable monitoring solutions would be sustainable within the residential security industry based on the current economic and industry forces outlook. With that in mind, MSIM Team 3 has chosen American District Telegraph Company, or ADT, to recommend a transformational business and technology model that will sustain ADT's leader position and withstand in the highly competitive residential security industry. ADT provides electronic security systems, interactive automation services, event monitoring services, home health monitoring services, and fire detection services in the United States and Canada. Through 141 years of continuous business, ADT has gained a solid position of an established reputation and solid branding, and has demonstrated deep expertise in the residential security industry. With currently 6.5 million residential customers, ADT is the largest industry provider in sales, installation, field service, and monitoring solutions, supported by approximately 17,000 employees. As of 2013, ADT owns a healthy 25% share of the residential market and maintains a national footprint of 4 redundant monitoring centers with corporate offices in Boca Raton, Florida. ADT brands include, along with its core systems, the ADT Pulse Next Generation system utilizing web-based mobile and video technologies. Brand strength is based on long-standing quality, reliability, and consumer trust. ADT Business Canvas reveals opportunities, gaps for further refinement, and lay the foundation for strategic alternatives. ADT's key strategic partners include Ideal Life, McAfee, Ford Motor Company, and most importantly iControl, supporting the Pulse security systems. ADT's key activities is the installation and monitoring of residential and business security and premises automation systems to detect intrusion, control access, as well as to address medical emergencies or incapacitation. ADT's key resources include its physical monitoring centers, data networks, and tangible physical assets. ADT's intellectual resources include a number of trademarks, copyrights, and other proprietary rights. ADT's human resources include 17,000 workforce including sales, installation, monitoring agents, and its executive leadership team. ADT's value proposition is a bundle of system-integrated alarm solution and home automation hardware coupled with the 24/7 365 monitoring. Value is perceived by customers that fulfills the need for home security, physically recognized in custom solution design to the physical layout of residents, and realized during the contract duration of monitoring services. ADT's customer relationships start with personalized and individual attention from sales consultants making on-site residential visits and continued with on-site installation staff engaging customers and site setup and system training. This service culture is continued on alarm or emergency events and engagement of the monitoring agents to assist customers. ADT communicates its value proposition through several channels that complement each other and mix direct and indirect approaches. ADT continually optimizes marketing spend through lead modeling analytics that measure marketing channel effectiveness, indicating how spend should be shifted. ADT constantly explores new customer lead methods and channels to increase customer base and drive greater segment penetration. Customer segments include residential customers of single-family homes. Small business customer segments include retail, medical offices, professional service providers, small production and commercial facilities. ADT continually evaluates further segmentation strategies and offerings to address no-frills customers as well as technologically sophisticated IoT customers, capitalizing on the newness factor. ADT's cost structure is cost-driven with competitive elements of value-driven approaches. ADT continues to drive cost efficiencies in internal reorganizations, implementing projects that reduce work orders and service dispatches, and implementing drop-ship on system self-service parts. However, as a differentiator, ADT recognizes that rather than compete purely on price, the emphasis on quality should not be overlooked. Finally, ADT's revenue streams come from asset and subscription fees. ADT sells home alarm and automation systems as included in the bundling of monitoring services and installation labor. Monitoring subscription fees usually are contracted for 3 years. Significant recurring revenue is generated by monitoring and maintenance services, which for 2014 was 92% of total revenue. Another helpful tool in environmental and business analysis is the SWOT matrix, or strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis that identifies the internal and external factors that are favorable and unfavorable. SWOT is helpful in identifying the strategic fit in its competitive environment relative to internal resources and capabilities. Overall, the SWOT analysis has revealed ADT's strengths in infrastructure, value proposition, brand, products, supply chain, strategic partnering and leadership. ADT's weaknesses are in areas of competitive product offerings, customer contract terms, increased attrition and customer acquisition costs. As well, a noticeable lack of big data integration into new product offerings is important to note. Other areas of possible vulnerabilities include interruptions in supply chain, key human resource retention and collective bargaining agreements with unionized employees. Opportunities for exploitation for ADT include the integration of new technologies into the product mix, expansion into the DIY, temporary residential security markets, and small business markets governed by the non-competition agreements expiring. Presence in all three both of these markets would enhance the competitive position of ADT. As well, areas for opportunities include the streamlining of customers from strategic acquisitions and general economic recovery impacts on housing starts. Areas ADT should concentrate mitigations and countermeasures against are the intense competition and shifting market shares, pricing structures in the marketplace, and the overall competitiveness of new products and upgrade strategies competitors are making inroads with. The threat of competition from the associated TICO covenants not to compete should also be heavily considered in future strategy. As well, governmental and regulatory environments should be closely monitored for change. Branding property rights data security should always be on the radar for potential threat exploitation as well as possible downturns in general economic conditions, liabilities with VBA, and cost of capital for expansion. The final tool for the ADT company analysis yielding further insights is the value chain developed by Michael Porter in his seminal work Competitive Advantage. The value chain profiles a company's chain of activities that result in products services delivered to the marketplace. As products pass through the chain and activities, value is added with the goal of exceeding costs to produce and highlights the competitive advantage of a particular business unit. ADT has a breadth and depth of activities in the primary and support areas of the value chain. While too many activities to name for this presentation, suffice it to say that ADT's value chain is strong and well positioned to support transformational activities related to the proposed business and technology implementation of a e-commerce enabled, physically portable, subscription-based business model for do-it-yourself or DIY alarm and home automation systems with automated provisioning and self-monitoring options. To summarize to this point, the conclusion of the industry analysis is the industry is migrating to DIY and IoT portable customer-facilitated install and flexible subscription-based monitoring. The conclusion of ADT's company analysis is that ADT is well positioned and has the necessary infrastructure to facilitate the introduction of an e-commerce-based, physically portable, pay-as-you-go monitoring subscription model of a DIY alarm system's home automation utilizing automated provisioning and user self-monitoring. Hence, the recommendation is that ADT undertakes this strategic transformative business technology project that fulfills the requirements of enhancing competitive advantage, positively impacting key metrics, reducing costs, and increasing long-term profitability. This transformational model will not entirely replace the current ADT business model initially, but will coexist with the current model and operations until the established customer base can be successfully transitioned to the new model processes and new technologies. The goal of this project is to facilitate customer purchase of wireless, portable alarm systems and home automation components from the ADT website, complete the financial transaction for a monthly subscription model, complete the home installation without or with a minimum of ADT assistance, provision onto the ADT monitoring systems using home internet, and activate self-monitoring with ADT monitoring backup. As illustrated in the following as is business process mapping, the current state reflects a labor-intensive process to acquire and support customers. The sales process, although still a competitive advantage, reflects a traditional model where a sales representative visits the site to facilitate the sale close. This is not in alignment with changing culture of the DIY and IoT customer. The current state also reflects an on-site home installation usually to facilitate the hardwire alarm model. The DIY and IoT customers desire to have this control over alarm installation. The internal process of provisioning the alarm on the ADT monitoring systems is a manual process as well. Finally, the monitoring and triage is a 100% agent-based process. The future state is an exciting change for ADT in that through automation and process refinement, multiple cost centers can be reduced or eliminated entirely, beginning with the sales process. Augmentation to the ADT website of an e-commerce portal will eliminate the need for sales agents and on-site sales and alarm design visits. Customers now will use the website to determine what alarm kit best suits their needs, determine the alarm monitoring coverage desired, and complete the sale through the website. Standardized alarm kits specialized for the DIY residential installation will be sent directly from the parts warehouse to the customer, eliminating the need for field install and repair service technicians. The customer installs the alarm system and provisions it over their residential internet connection. If the customer has any install issues, ADT can assist either by an agent over the phone or online via pre-recorded videos on the ADT website or YouTube. If the customer has a defective part or system, the return is facilitated over the ADT website for RMA and sent directly to the parts warehouse for exchange. Upon activation of the alarm system, big data information from the use of the alarm system is relayed to ADT for future advanced analytics research. Finally, upon an alarm event, the customer is the first line of triage. This process reduces the overall need for monitoring agents. Overall, the proposed future state reduces 3 dedicated labor cost centers, eliminates the need for field install and service technicians, and reduces the overall need for monitoring agents headcount with ripple effects through overhead and facilities. The primary functional areas impacted will be sales, inventory order fulfillment, purchasing, provisioning, training, accounting, and information technology. Information technology will be most impacted as IT manages the Oracle ERP systems that integrate the business processes along with the new technology for automated provisioning. All major business processes will need to be extracted from existing operations, refined, documented, and implemented for the new approach. These include web-based order acquisition, inventory fulfillment, internet-based provisioning, monitoring, and billing. During implementation and stabilization, all levels of personnel will be impacted with additional tasks such as research, contribution to the project, and training for integrating and operating the business processes in parallel with existing operations. 3 months after implementation, the expected operational impacts are the immediate reduction in residential sales, field, and monitoring agent headcounts. Within 6 months, the expected impacts are the closure of 1 monitoring center and transfer of existing operational traffic to remaining monitoring centers. Synergies will be realized at the completion of the Oracle integration of the web-based sales portal, refined order fulfillment, and customer internet-based provisioning, enabling cost reductions in operations, overhead, and headcount in the customer acquisition areas. As well, additional synergies will be realized upon the completion of the integration in customer monitoring and smart device self-monitoring, enabling cost reductions in operational overhead and reduced monitoring agent headcounts. In conclusion, MSIM Team 3 hopes that this presentation has captured your interest in the recommendation and looks forward to the next steps in Project Greenlight. Thank you for your time.